Yes, waiter. Waiter, more platformers, please. Oh, goody, goody, goody. Marvelous. More 3D platformers. Yes.
I'm glad that these big stupids at Sony are starting to realize that copying Nintendo is how you make the big bucks. Large open world games are great every now and then, but it feels like for the past 5 to 6 years it's just been nothing but big all-you-can-eat buffets. I shouldn't have to do the math for you here, people. No one man can eat all that all. Well, maybe some can, but I sure can't. Not these days anyways. I think Tears of the Kingdom is what officially burnt me out of the genre. It was a great game, but man, 100%ing those caverns broke me. I just really wanted those fun costumes, alright? I don't know. These days, I like a solid 2-course meal, maybe a little surprise at the end, a little chocolate mint candy and the check, and then I'm out. I'm not there for upwards of 60 hours cleaning every corner of the buffet table, and I'm definitely not paying for the fucking buffet pass. A lot of people are starting to identify my wavelength with the last one there, it seems. Perhaps the era of live service is coming to a close. I don't know if we'll ever see a game try to do what Concord did ever again. I'd certainly like that to be the case, but it's probably not. Well, it's all led up to this, the game that made me buy a PS5. I'm not kidding. I've been a strong hater of the PS5 basically since release, going so far as to bully my buddy Ridge when he bought his own. I thought, I got a PS4 Pro and a PC, what would I ever need a PS5 for? It's not like it has any exclusives worth buying it. Oh. Damn. When the game came out, I knew I wanted to try it, so my dad let me borrow his PS5 for a day, and after just a day of use, I was sold. Aside from the game being fantastic, the console was just really speaking to me in ways I wasn't expecting. It just so flawlessly ran this beautiful game without any frame dips or loading times whatsoever. It was a crazy reprieve from the Switch barely being able to run Super Mario RPG Remake at a stable frame rate. I knew the thing was powerful, but damn. On top of that, my computer's graphics card just really kind of sucks these days. I don't know why, but it just can't run anything graphically intensive without getting really, really fucking loud. So yeah, here I am with my $450 paperweight, I guess. Do I regret my decision? Yeah, a little, especially given that the literal day after I bought it, Sony came out to tell the whole world that, hey guys, don't forget, we're evil. I opted for the digital-only version because I don't own any physical PS5 games, none worth playing anyways, and I don't plan on buying any in the future. And because I hate physical media. Die, physical media! Nah, I'm kidding. Alright, let me catch you up to speed. Astro Bot is a sequel to Astro's Playroom, which was a free pack-in launch title for the PS5, which was a sequel to Astro Bot Rescue Mission, which was a VR game for the PS4, which was a sequel to The Playroom, which was a free pack-in launch title for the PS4, which was, I don't really know what the fuck this thing was, I'm gonna be real. All of this was developed by Team Asabi, a Tokyo-based Sony development studio. And until Astro Bot Rescue Mission, the VR one, they were mostly the developers of tech demos and pack-in experiences. But then, with Astro's Playroom, they were able to really show off to the masses what they could make when they weren't forced to develop for what are, in my opinion, gimmicks. Astro's Playroom was a cute, albeit short and bare-bones platforming experience, which was the perfect way to start and end the PS5 experience, at least for me, because, you know, yeah. And now, 4 years later, Team Asabi has been tasked with creating a full-fledged big boy video game, and how did they do? Well, in short, after 14 years of waiting for Mario Galaxy 3, these guys said,
"Fine, I'll do it myself."
Astro Bot is the best platformer I've played since Mario Wonder. Now, to be fair, I haven't played games like Penny's Big Breakaway, but I did play Yellow Taxi Goes Room, and actually, it's pretty close. But I feel confident in naming this my Game of the Year. I'm not kidding. It's that good. Astro Bot is a triumphant and confident celebration of Sony's history, which has given us some of the greatest gaming experiences of all time. Astro Bot is a continuation of Astro's Playroom, bringing over the same controls and style and many of the mechanics while reworking the structure into something much more advanced. It's structured like a traditional platformer, groups of levels sectioned into different worlds, each without a distinct theme other than the boss battle at the end. Astro Bot is constantly leaning over to copy Nintendo's homework when it comes to the gameplay. It's incredibly obvious. They didn't try to hide it at all. And this is because unlike something like Immortals Phoenix Rising, it was more like the team behind Astro Bot was taking notes in an attempt to improve out of a place of love rather than just copying shit outright. They took ideas and mechanics from a plethora of Nintendo games, Mario Odyssey, 3D World, Pikmin, especially from Galaxy 1 and 2. But they actually knew what they were doing. They weren't just grabbing shit because it was in games that did well. They took shit that they knew was specifically fun. They knew how to implement it correctly in a way that worked and felt natural. One way Astro Bot sets itself apart from the rest of the 3D platformer genre is by fully utilizing the raw power of the PS5. PS5 has no games, that mantra holds true. However, it does have graphics. So many graphics. And load times, good lord. I heard stories of the SSD from people and endless tech jargon from the Sony higher-ups, but good Christ does this thing load games fast. Unnecessarily fast at times. It's a strange experience selecting a level and not waiting through at least a few seconds of loading screen. I'm starting to realize how much of my life has been taken up by a loading screen after using this thing so long. It's wild. You know what else is wild? This. I didn't even know we had the technology to do this. Apparently we've had it since 2020, but we've instead been using it to render more wrinkles in John Last of Us's face. No, I'm much more interested in this. I want 500 apples. Of course, it's not just the physics, the actual graphics, the scenery. Quite beautiful, especially on an OLED TV. Feels like I'm playing a damn Pixar movie sometimes. This game has a great art style that stays consistent the whole way through. Every living thing besides the enemies is a robot and has a little Astro Bot face. You'll notice during your travels. It's a nice touch that makes the experience feel more thought out and more like a real world. This leads into my next point of discussion. The guys you save. Astro Boy opens with you and your boy pals on a nondescript spaceship having a grand old time shooting through space doing something, until suddenly a green alien steals a glowy egg McGuffin from your ship, causing you to crash land and all of your 300 pals to scatter evenly throughout the game's 6 worlds. Egads! It's a video game plot, and I'm pretty sure New Super Mario Bros. U had more going on with its narrative, but that's okay, you know? Absolutely no one is playing Astro Bot for the story, so I'm just glad they kept it brief. Your main objective is to beat levels and save all the Waddle Dee, bots that you can, and send them back to Waddle Dee, the crash site. On its own, this mechanic of saving fellow bots stuck in various predicaments throughout the game would be mildly amusing at best, but the kicker is that a little over half of the 300 bots are licensed characters from Sony's past and present. Once you save them, you can then later unlock special props for them to emote with in the hub world. This increases your incentive for collecting all the bots tenfold. I personally love not only the surprise of seeing different new characters and reading their cute little splash text, but then the glee of unlocking their adorable little animations containing references to their source material. It's such a simple yet rewarding feature, as each character has completely separate detailed animations which are always really well done, and just being able to watch your collection grow in the hub world can be really gratifying. Of course, since there are over 150 different Sony characters spanning the entire history of their games, there are some real oddball, deep-cut references in here. I found myself personally a lot of times just going, who? I found this to be part of the fun, though. You never really knew what random-ass character you'd find next.
Holy shit, is that Link?
It led me to looking up a list and finding out what game every character came from. Some of them turned out to be really cool looking, so I'm sorry, Kotaro, I wasn't familiar with your game. Like, literally. I knew the animations in this game would be good, but goddamn, I was really not ready for this game's soundtrack. It's really damn good. I knew the music in Astro's Playroom was good, but the music team went fucking ham with this. You got that first level with that delightfully earwormy melody. You got... Oh, I love this one. This one's like... And then it goes... Tight Mites. Tight Mites. I love this one. It goes... All right, music, whatever. We got to talk about the power-ups. Ooh, the power-ups. It's a 3D platformer, baby. We got to talk about the power-ups. So how are they? How are the power-ups in Astro Bot? Well, really good, actually. Despite a few stinkers. Like, there's a few power-ups that just don't do anything for me. One of them is just literally boost forward, and they don't do a lot with it. But if you ignore the boring-ass boosting power-ups, you got some really good shit in here. Stuff that I can't believe I haven't seen in, like, a Mario game before. They're that good. Like this fucking VR helmet that basically lets you become Dio? This is fucking genius. Look at this guy. He throws cards at you and you have to slow time to jump up on top of them to beat him. It's kind of peak. However, the best power-up in the game was only used in one level. This mouse guide that lets you shrink way small on a dime anywhere in the level. It's a really simple concept, but it's something that isn't really possible in most 3D platformers unless you're taking full advantage of the PS5's hardware like this game does. It's such a fun idea that they do a lot with, even in the just one level that it's in. It's cool. Alright, it's time to get a little negative. I haven't even talked about one of the main attractions to the game, the crossover levels. At the end of each world, there's a level that crosses over directly with another Sony IP, and has you in the world performing the actions of whatever protagonist is from that IP. In my opinion, they wasted so much potential with this concept. You hear the idea and your mind starts racing to all the amazing ideas they could do with this. A Metal Gear stealth level, a Parappa rhythm level, a Crash Bandicoot style platforming level, but instead, we got 2 good ideas and 3 boring-ass AAA press-trigger-to-shoot-weapon levels. Compared to the Ape Escape and Loco Roco levels, these were just so boring to me. I'm not trying to be that, oh, the old game's so much better than the AAA slop guy. Dog, Uncharted is one of my favorite game franchises ever, and even I have to admit this level was kinda ass. Okay, maybe they're not that bad. In the grand scheme of things, they're fine levels with lots of cute references, but compared to something like the Ape Escape level, holy shit, this is so much. Holy shit! Is so much rather more of this. That's literally what my script says. Why did I write that? Holy shit! Is so much rather more of this. What the fuck does that mean? Look, I'm trying to say it's better, okay? They really needed to just pick one of these AAA reps for the crossover levels because they all felt really samey. And they just needed to remove the Horizon level outright. Alright, I'm gonna say it. Horizon Zero Dawn, I do not understand the appeal of these games. I'm gonna be honest, like, I was miserable during this whole level. From what I've seen and played, they're extremely generic open world games with not a lot of soul that makes them stand out. Such a weird inclusion to represent Sony's history, especially after the fantastic Loco Roco level in the prior world, too. That was definitely my favorite crossover level, I think. And then, to follow it up, Horizon. Man, what a fucking downgrade. And if you like the Horizon games, that's fine. I don't have any actual problem with the games themselves, unless you count finding them extremely boring and generic as a problem, then yeah, I guess I do. But it's fine if you like them. They're not offensively bad games. There's just so many other IPs that would have worked so much better. The obvious choice for the final crossover level should have been Little Big Planet. It would have fit so perfectly. I mean, look at these guys. They're practically brothers. To me, let's get real here. To me, Little Big Planet represents Sony at the peak of their creativity. Everything about it just oozes childlike imagination and pure fun. I never got super into these games as a kid, but I loved the short experiences I had with them. And to me, Sackboy will always be Sony's magnum opus. And after Little Big Planet 3 servers were permanently shut down with no publicly known plans for a 4th game anytime soon, and my man Sackboy being delegated to an assist trophy while fucking Aloy gets the special treatment as she orchestrated. It speaks volumes for where Sony is today as a company. Creatively bankrupt. As well as just normal bankrupt. It's no secret that Sony has been struggling to live up to the standards of their legacy. Each prior generation were successes in the end, even if some of them started off not so smoothly. They always found a way to get back on the horse, and it almost always involved a good output of games. But this generation, not so much. Astro Bot is more of a taste. An example of what Sony could be doing with their console's gaming output right now. They have just been constantly fucking up as much as possible this entire generation, it seems. So this definitely isn't going to become the norm, I don't think, despite the numbers this game has been doing, but it's nice to enjoy it while we have it. I mean, not even a few days after it released, they announced the PS5 Pro, which is just like, what the fuck is this? Astro Bot is proof that Nintendo aren't the only ones who can make great creative games like this. Any studio can do it, they just gotta lock in. Team Asabi have huge potential, and I dearly hope Sony takes away the right message from this game's great success. I really, really hope we get more smaller scale projects focused less on being the biggest, most crazy graphics epic adventures you've ever lazed, and focused more on being just creative, imaginative, memorable, and, you know, fun. So, this game, do I recommend it? Hell yeah, I do. Unfortunately, you do have to buy a PS5 to play it, and that's a little bit harder for me to recommend to people, but if you have access to a PS5, I highly, highly recommend this game. It's good fun. And they got Jak and Daxter in there. I mean, can we get another Jak and Daxter game? Seriously.